What makes a wild woman? Road tripping, cross country, running away from home? Does wild mean being free or being crazy? Is it being willing to spend your life alone? Or something else? I'm really asking.
When I started this project, I thought wild women were outdoorsy women. I just read Pam Houston's Cowboys Are My Weakness, which is full of women who camp in snow caves and kayak through rapids and ride horses bareback. But they were always chasing men who cared more about adventure than about them. The women were always getting left behind. I thought the problem was that outdoor culture was hypermasculine, built on a myth of rugged self-sufficiency that didn't make room for commitment to other people. I started asking how to uplift the quote-unquote femininity of outdoor adventure. Would a more feminine way to explore the world mean cultivating a relationship with the land, the ecosystem? But that led me back to our gendered expectations of relationships. What I really wanted to know was, where did we get this trope of flighty men versus needy women? Why do we expect straight relationships to fit this mold? Why are we okay with shit like ghosting and playing hard to get? And how are women supposed to find trust and love with these expectations hanging over them? To be docile, to wait forever, to let everything slide.
Wait, but what does this have to do with your book?
Hey, I'm getting there. This is Lina. She's a serial monogamist with a guilty feminist conscience. She's grown up mostly as an only child. She was 10 when her older sister, Athala, graduated from high school, came out as gay, and moved out of their childhood home. When the book starts, Lina is 25 and moving from LA to Manhattan Chinatown. She's in the throes of a breakup with her college sweetheart, Sergio. And Athala, now 33, is getting married. The wedding invite sends Lina into a spiral. She left for New York to emulate Athala's rebellious restlessness, but now Athala is settling down. What? From there, Lina starts retracing her romantic history. Amid these love stories, she's trying to figure out her love for Athala, whom she's always wanted to be. She grew up on trickled-down stories of Athala's wild youth in San Francisco. As an adult, she now has to parse the myth from the person.
Hey, Izzy, I have a question. Is this book secretly about you?
Well, I don't have a sister. But yeah, basically. Look, I have all of Lina's same questions. Wait, hold on. Let me back on screen. I have something to say.
I grew up reading books and watching movies in which people fall in love, and I wanted that. I still do. It matters to me to cultivate strong, honest, romantic relationships. I didn't always know that I could ask for that, and I want to know why. I want to know why so many women, especially Asian women, diminish themselves. I want to know why I expected men to leave me, and why I left them.
Why I thought of myself as an independent woman, but craved male attention to prove my self-worth. I didn't have the jargon to explain it away.
These questions aren't as fun as Tumblr graphics telling us in pastel fonts that the future is female. But they're real questions I have that I feel have been absent from my feminist education. What do I do about this feeling of inferiority that lingers? Is there a name for it? Can I escape it?
Thank God for Cathy Park Hong. She gave that ambient discontent a name. Minor feelings. The racialized range of emotions that are negative, dysphoric, and therefore untelegenic, built from the sediments of everyday racial experience and the irritant of having one's perception of reality constantly questioned or dismissed. They're feelings you don't want to have, but feel anyway. Paradoxical feelings, like craving acceptance but resenting other Asian people in the room. Like trying to be an independent woman, but wanting love so badly you'll let a man diminish you.
Having the language to express my confusion gave me another narrative. Maybe I'm not too clingy, too submissive, too self-conscious. Maybe those are stories we tell women to keep them from disagreeing with men. Maybe those are minor feelings, and I've been trained to see myself refracted through whiteness and maleness to accommodate their expectations, even if I didn't realize what those expectations were.
I wanted Lina to struggle under the weight of those expectations. I wanted to show her in the fog of these questions about her self-worth, without the language to address it. Let's take a look at a scene from the book. Here, she's sitting on the side of a Tahoe highway, waiting for Attilo to arrive from her hike. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees a family emerging from a trailhead onto the road.
They were wearing matching brightly colored backpacks, and they whooped as they walked. Each parent carried a child in their arms, while a third kid, older, walked between them, clinging to the hanging straps of their packs. All of them tan, athletic, idyllic. In an alternate universe where Lina's parents took her hiking, there was no way they'd get up early enough to finish by noon. Picture frame family, Lina thought. She studied the woman's legs, which flickered with well-defined muscles, calves made up of straight lines and full shadows. She knew who among her college classmates would grow up to have this family, which sweatless SoulCycle sorority girls would evolve into this woman, with her long blonde hair silking over her shoulders. Buy a fucking hair tie, Lina thought. The youngest child was chewing on a fat fist of blonde hair, his face white with the cast of unrubbed sunscreen. Expensive sunscreen. Zinc oxide. Not that watery banana boat shit with the half-naked baby on it. Whose idea was that, anyway? The family was preparing to cross the road. The parents looked from left to right with exaggerated caution, cooed to their eldest child with cartoonish enthusiasm, and picked him up by the wrists as they sprinted together. The kid tucked his feet under and shrieked with delight as his parents swung him between them. The woman's bicep bulged into a perfect curve under the weight of her two sons. God, was she fit. Lina flexed her own arm and poked the lump that emerged there, as small and flimsy as a boiled egg. She wrinkled her nose. Beyond the windshield, the family had arrived. They stood feet from the hood of Serge's car, panting and giggling. The woman shifted her baby to her other hip and pried off her baseball cap. Lina already knew this lady wouldn't have hat hair, and she was gearing up to scoff loudly at the injustice of it when she saw the woman's pitch-black roots at the same time the woman caught her staring. She was Asian, Lina realized with a start. Korean, Lina assumed, by the hard contours of her nose, which started narrow at the bridge and ended in a round nub that resembled a politer version of Lina's own. And by the slope of her eyes, set wide over square cheekbones. The woman waved, first with her own hand, then with her baby's. Nice kayak, she called, over-mouthing the words so Lina could read her lips. Lina gave a watery smile and held up a hand. The woman beamed. Turning her face to her husband, she pointed at something in the lake. Lina turned, too, as though included now in the woman's circle, but she could only see the scratches on her lenses, slicing up the view.
So here, we see Lina projecting her romantic and domestic fantasies onto another family, and she's assuming the whole family is white. Underneath that assumption is the belief that only white women are worth envying, worth love. Lina's distancing herself from the woman she sees on the highway out of fear that she'll never be able to have that woman's life. When it becomes more attainable, it turns out the woman isn't white, but Asian, too. Lina recoils, confused. She's not used to seeing her Asianness as aspirational. But she doesn't have the vocabulary to describe that yet. Instead, she feels more confused by the world's workings, more out of place.
Part of the problem is that Lina is already so used to how women are supposed to look. How has she been thus conditioned? Laura Mulvey started to answer that in 1975 with Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. In it, Mulvey breaks down the male gaze as the animating force of film's point of view. Film not only objectifies women, but makes audiences complicit in the objectification. And it's gotten so out of control now, leaving the realm of cinema and following women to advertising, social media, the omnipresent branding of our contemporary life. We expect ourselves to look ready for the male gaze at all times.
Sorry, Lina, but I'm throwing you into this male gaze mess, too. Let's take a look at another scene from Wild Women Don't Get the Blues. In it, Lina is in her senior year of high school and visiting her friend Richard, who's finishing his first year of college.
Richard threw open the door to Charlie's dorm room. For a moment, Lina expected something strange inside, something intimate and brazen and emblematic of college life, like a half-dressed couple leaping to their feet at the squeal of the hinges. In real life, the room was spare and quiet. The colors were off, the desk and bed frame an unstylish brown, neither pale enough nor dark enough to catch the eye. The low-pile rug, the dirty blue of sand clouding underwater. Dust motes prickled in the light of the single window. A thick-necked, baby-faced frat boy laid in bed, playing video games in his underwear. Charlie, she assumed. Hey, dude, this is Lina. Charlie jutted a chin in their direction. Hey, sorry I'm so naked. No worries, said Lina. She had expected Charlie to react more to the presence of a girl in his room, to scramble for clothes or pick mucus from the inner corners of his eyes, but he barely turned from the TV screen. She wondered if it was because she was ugly, and how long it had taken Charlie to realize it. He hadn't even looked at her. Was she too short, too dark, in his periphery? Too lumpily dressed? She tugged at the hem of her shirt, trying to shake out the wrinkles. Richard touched her wrist. Over there, he said, pointing to the couch in the corner. Lina took the side of the couch without a stain and brushed crumbs off the seat. She had a thought. Richard, by bringing her, had claimed her. She was off limits. This wasn't necessarily comforting, but she was grateful, at least, that Richard was who he was, charming and well-dressed. She would hate to be the girl on Charlie's arm, there by the temporary grace of his attention, moping beside him on the bed while he ignored her. To be Richard's girl seemed more exclusive. Is Bree coming later? Richard asked. Charlie snorted. No idea. She's all butthurt I didn't take her to formal last week. Lina wondered who Richard had taken to formal. She imagined a skinny girl in all black with a severe middle part, her scalp blazing white. Maybe he was seeing someone, she thought, and everyone else knew it, and the frat brothers didn't see her as Richard's girl, but as his charity case. She itched her nose. She's the kind of girl who thinks that matters, Richard said. Lina wondered, am I that kind of girl? But the conversation was still unraveling ahead of her.
Here, Lina is wondering what Charlie will think of the way she looks, and how quickly he'll evaluate her entire worth based on it. But she doesn't have the vocabulary to say why this bothers her yet. She reacts to his disinterest by criticizing herself, not him. Her instinct is to conform to his expectations. The highly gendered space of the frat house raises the stakes of her visibility. She knows she can fail at being the right kind of girl, a rich white girl. Maybe once Lina goes to college herself, she'll have the words to unpack this experience. But what can anyone say to her in this moment to make her believe she's not strange, ugly, or abnormal? How does she struggle through it anyway? Ultimately, the phrase "wild women don't get the blues" is aspirational. It speaks to the self-correcting instinct of an anxious Asian American woman. Maybe if I'm wild enough, interesting enough, independent enough, I'll never have to be sad. I'll never run into minor feelings or rejection. I'll seem more desirable in the eyes of men. It's the kind of norm that arises from privileging men's convenience over women's needs. It doesn't have to be like this. I hope to write a world where it isn't.